What's up, it's Wills, back with more Miata mods. On this episode, we'll be replacing my old stock bumper. As you can see, the paint is chipping off and there's a large chunk of Bondo flaking off in the middle. So here's my new bumper. It's a Racing Beat Type 2, and I found it on a local Facebook group and picked it up from a local Miata shop called Burstcraft in the Bay Area. This is one of my favorite bumpers for the NA Miata. It's a subtle bumper that complements the NA Miata well, while still adding a touch of aggression. The design looks really clean and simple, like it could be an OEM option. It's in good condition overall, but it's not perfect. It's been repaired in a few spots in the back with fiberglass, and it looks like it scraped a few driveways. But I guess at least it's a bit more reinforced now. The bumper has also already been drilled, and the holes have minimal cracking, so hopefully it lines up so I don't have to patch the holes and re-drill them. There's a small crack right in the middle, and a few gashes on the top right. It's also been cut on the center scoop, and they didn't really do a great job. But it came with the side mounting brackets already installed, and I got it for a good price, so I'm still excited about this upgrade. Alright, so let's get this thing installed. First thing we're going to do is remove the bumper brackets that run along the top of the bumper. They're held in by a bunch of screws, and as you can see, they're super rusty. Some came off easy, but most required some penetrant to loosen them up. Definitely took my time and applied a lot of pressure moving the screws to try to prevent the screws from stripping, but luckily I got them all out. Now that we have the bumper brackets off, we can get them cleaned up and inspected. Overall, they're still in really good condition with just some slight surface rust. So I cleaned them up real quick, scuffed them up with a Scotch-Brite pad, and gave it a quick few coats of paint. Next up, let's get these bumper bracket plates restored. As you can see, these things are very wavy and they're bent up all over the place. So I did my best to bend them back to shape by running them through a vise and trying to flatten it out as much as possible. That worked pretty good to get the shape roughed in, but there's definitely still some high spots on the face that need more refining. Next, I ran it through again to get the lip bent back. I used an extension and a hammer to tap down the high spots and tried to get it as flat as possible. Here's a little before and after finishing about half. You can see just how bad it was compared to the finished side. Just check out how wavy that is compared to these nice flat edges. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was before. Now that we got the bumper bracket plates back to shape, let's go ahead and give these a few coats of paint. I think they came out looking pretty solid. Lastly, I ran a die over the mounting studs so we have fresh threads once we install it. Now that the bumper brackets are ready, let's go ahead and get the bumper cleaned up real quick and prep for install. I gave it a quick scrub down outside and in. And after the wash, there was some tree sap or adhesive on the bumper, so we got that off with some tar and sap remover. Alright, now we can go ahead and get the bumper bracket installed onto the new bumper. I started off by tightening the middle screw, and then one on the side to hold the brackets up. Then I alternated sides, tightening it down to try to prevent putting too much stress on the fiberglass. Also tried not to tighten them too much to try to prevent stressing it too much as well. Then I ran a die through the side bracket studs real quick since they were looking kind of crusty. Alright, nice fresh threads. And then I'm going to tap through all the mounting holes on the radiator support. Lastly, I traced out the holes from the old bumper and drilled out the new bumper for the fender mounts. So before we install the bumper, let's get my new tow hooks installed. The old tow hooks are just some generic crappy aluminum tow hooks. The new ones are some beefy steel tow hooks. To install them, there's 4 bolts at the bottom of the front of each side of the frame. I'm going to go ahead and run a tap through them real quick since they're a bit rusty. I went ahead and did both sides just in case I ever wanted to move it to the other side or for a license plate mount. If you need new hardware, the bolt size is M10 by 1.25 by 30 mil. Lastly, go ahead and dab them with some anti-seize and crank them down. Now let's go ahead and get the new bumper mounted up. To install the bumper, we got to get these studs through the holes in the fender. Alright, now that we got the studs through the fender, let's go ahead and bolt up all the mounting holes for the bumper bracket. It's a pretty tight fit to get the holes to line up, so what you got to do is kind of press on the bumper while you get the bolts threaded in. Once we get those in, we can go ahead and work on tightening up the nuts for the studs on the corners next to the headlights. For the fender corners, I just used a nut and a bolt, and you can see there's a fairly large gap before tightening them down. And once you tighten them down, the bumper sits nice and flush to the fender. And lastly, we'll tighten down these 2 fender nuts on the inner fender. Next, I replaced the faded side markers that came with the new bumper with some much cleaner ones from my old bumper. Next up after that, I went ahead and put in my turn signals. I bought some turn signal intakes, but I'm really torn and not really sure if I want to stay with the smoke turn signals or run the turn signal intakes. Let me know in the comments which one you think looks better. Next up, I scored this sweet headlight intake from a Merlot Mika Facebook group. Not sure what the brand is, but it looks pretty sweet and it's already color matched to my car. Let's go ahead and get this thing on. So first up, pop up your headlights and remove the 4 screws holding on the plastic shroud. Next up, there's 4 screws holding on the headlight lid. So I pop that off and then I put on the new headlight intake. Kind of get those loosely in place until you get the lid sitting nice and flush with the other panels. Last upgrade to complete the front end refresh is to replace my old cooling panel. My old one just wasn't my taste, so I got this one off of Etsy. This one is a much cleaner OEM style look with its black textured finish. It's also got some cutouts for some cold air intakes. But unfortunately, the bumper support I have won't allow me to mount it like in their picture. Some Miatas have this style of bumper support, while mine doesn't. So what I did is I went ahead and drilled out the bumper support, added a rib nut and a larger bolt as a spacer. Lastly, I went ahead and added some foam on the bottom side of the panel to help seal it up better. Alright, the bumper's all installed and looking awesome. I love the look of it over the stock bumper, but there's a few things that bug me. There's a pretty sizable gap where the hood meets the bumper, and the scratches on the corner are pretty annoying. But overall, the kit sits really tight with the other panels on the car. The cuts on the outside scoop make sense to clear the frame, but the center scoop cuts were totally unnecessary. Luckily, it's not really noticeable unless you get really down low, but standing at a normal height, you don't really notice them. Hopefully, these things can get fixed when it goes to paint. Other than that, the kit looks dope. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and give it a like. And subscribe if you want to keep following the build. Catch you in the next one. Peace.